Welcome everybody to the number three video of FreeCAD, absolute beginner from a woodworker's perspective. Let me show you what we're going to tackle today. It's going to really exercise you in using the sketch workbench, which is something we can all use practice in. So this is going to be a lot of sketching today, a lot of learning to constrain your sketches. And I attempted this sketch a while back, months ago, and really, for something that looks so simple, it was difficult for me, especially where we have arcs that join each other in tangency, and then nailing those down with dimensions. Easier said than done. Hopefully I can pull it off today. I haven't practiced it. I've just done it that one time a while back, and it really frustrated me. So I figured it would be a good one for us to work through today. Let me go ahead and pull it up and show you exactly what we're going to be working on. Okay, here you go. It's a key rack. And it's also, I think you call that shape a skeleton key. So we're going to do the outlines. The right side of that is not going to be too difficult. It's the left side of the key rack that was a little challenging, at least for me. And it looks so easy, but when you start trying to constrain it, maybe it was my method, but just I had to redo it a couple times, that area on the left, and I'm hoping today I can accomplish it without much of a struggle. But once we get through the left side of the key, then the right side of the key will be a little easier. And then you can see off to the right, the end view, there are hooks in there. We're not going to draw those hooks. That's for another time if we get to that. And then the mounting holes for this rack with the countersinks. I think what I'm going to do is just show the holes drilled through without the countersinks. It just depends on how long this goes by the time I'm done. I might be able to fit it in, but if not, we'll cover countersinking at another time, because that's another feature. I don't think we're ready for that yet, but we'll see. Pull up FreeCAD. All right, here we are in FreeCAD. Opened it up, and I'm going to try to start a file a little different this time. Remember, if you've been following along, you'll know that there's always several ways that you can perform a function with FreeCAD, and that goes with opening files as well. So in the upper left corner here, you had the file pull down to start new. I showed you this icon right there to start new. But today I'm going to start a file or start a 3D model drawing the way I normally do, which is go to this little shortcut. It's not a huge time saver, but what this does is open FreeCAD, and it creates a body for you automatically. It saves you a step, and then you can go right into Sketcher from there. Little time saver, not a huge time saver, but a little trick. They all add up after a while when you've been doing this for a while. All right, let me turn the mouse on, highlight it, go down here. There we go. All right, there, you can see it there. So let's get going. I'll hit parametric part. That opens FreeCAD, and it starts a body for you. And on the task tab, it's all set up, ready to hit sketch to go. But one of the things I like to do is name that body, and I'll call it, let's do all caps, I'll just go to key rack, hit enter, and while I'm at it, I'll save the file. It's unnamed currently down here on this tab, so I'll go up here and do a save as. If I do a save, I'm pretty sure it'll ask me if I want to name the file, so let me try that instead of doing save as. Just trying a few different things here and there. Alright. Key rack. And I'll hit save. And I'll replace it as, like I said, that's the one that I did months ago. Alright, let's get going here. But before we go, I do want to show you something that I talked about in the previous video. I did not have an answer for, and I have it for you now. And that was, I thought there was a way inside of a sketch where you can have two entities, or I guess the technical term is two wireframes that are completely closed, so you can apply the pad feature to it. And I had two wireframes that I was playing with, that I was moving them around and showing the effects of that in the sketches. You'll have to go back and see the previous video for that. But I ran into a situation where I had two separate wires in the sketch, and only one would pad. So let me go ahead and kind of recreate that real quick. I'll try to get through this quickly. I'm going to go to the XY plane here. I clicked it. I'm going to hit OK with my left button. Now this is what I was talking about. I'll just do a circle over here. That's a wire, a closed wire. I'll do a rectangle here. Okay, I'll right click to get out of it. I'm not going to worry about constraining it, because this is just a demonstration to show you these two separate closed wires or entities in the same sketch. I'm going to close it, and then you see the two wires. When I hit pad, only one is going to pad. And in the last video, I was saying there's a way that you can pad both of these in a sketch, and I was incorrect. I misunderstood, but I'll demonstrate what I did see, or what I was trying to remember, that were separate entities. They weren't. They were entities that were, one entity was inside of the boundaries of another. I'll show that to you real quick. So let's go ahead and pad that. You can go to the taskbar, or you can go up here and hit pad. I'm just going to do part design pad. I'm just trying to show you different ways to do it. After a while, I'm just going to settle on one way to do it, and then I'll be using that from there on out. But we use the pad there. And see, the circle was not padded. So I tried to find a way that the two could be pad, but I could not find it, so I was wrong. However, let me hit OK there. You can do the drop down on the pad, and there's the eye. I'm going to select that eye to turn the sketch on. And there's the wireframe. All right, I'm going to double click on that sketch to open it and show you. If I move that circle inside the boundary there, or inside the other wire, when I hit close, the pad is going to update, and what do you think is going to happen? Let's give it a try. Right, a hole. And that's what we demonstrated on the previous video. Now let me show you something a little different. Not sure exactly how this would apply to you in the future. At this moment, I don't use this method much, but I want to show you that the two wireframes can be padded separately, but they just can't be apart from each other. They have to be overlapping or inside of the other part or wireframe. All right, cancel. I'm gonna right click and delete that pad, and there we go, delete it. Pad goes away, the sketch is still there. Instead of redrawing the sketch, I'm just going to leave that sketch. So let me double click on sketch. Alright, now what I'm going to do is close it, and if you remember when you close it, both closed wires are highlighted, ready to be ready to have a pad, a thickness assigned to it. So what happens if we decide to only select, I gotta hold down my, I'm not going to select the circle inside, I'm just going to select the rectangle, but I have to do this one wire at a time. I'm holding my control key down and using my left mouse to select it. So there, the whole wire, rectangle wire is selected. And now let's hit pad. I'll try this pad this time. And there you go. The circle is not there, creating a hole. All right, what I'm going to do now is reverse this pad, but before I do that, let's pull up the origin stuff. Here we go. There we go. You can see up there with the origin, I just turned the eye on to show it. And you can see the padded rectangle is laying right on the XY plane. Okay, so I'm going to reverse that pad, and you'll see what will happen. It should drop below the XY plane. Select pad, right click, edit the pad, and over here on the left side, you can do this with all pads, but you can reverse it, and you can see where it dropped below the plane. You can also do a symmetric to plane, which I use occasionally. Let me unselect reverse, hit symmetric. There you go. So it pads it a little above and a little below the plane. But I'm going to go with reversed. Let me uncheck that one, and now check reversed. It's dropped. I'm going to hit OK, and now I'm going to go back and select that circle. Let me move that around. Okay, I just called up the origin information so you can see what's going on there. So let me turn the origin information off. Alright, go to pad, go to sketch. I want to turn the sketch on, and there you can find the circle. Now this time I'm going to select circle, so that darkened the other lines, and now we only have the circle selected. And now let's just pad that up here, and there you go. So I hit OK. So we have one sketch that was developed with two entities, and they were used in a different fashion. Now, for future, I think after today, after we do the key rack, I'm going to start doing separate bodies. Right now we've just been doing one body sketches. In the future, something like this would be a body, and then this cylinder would be a body. And what you could do is move these around. Right now, I cannot select that and move it. If I do, it will move this also because it's all one body. So I really don't have a use for this method much, but there are some uses. Maybe we'll get into that in the future, but this is not the method that I normally use for showing two entities in the same sketch. I like to do separate bodies, separate sketches, because you have the ability or capability to move the bodies around, where right now these two are locked together. And in some cases that's what you want, but not in this case. All right, enough about that. Let's go ahead and get to the key rack. So I'm going to right click and delete this pad. You delete that pad, and that leaves us the sketch. I'm going to right click and delete that sketch. Delete, there it is. Alright, I'm going to reset this. You saw the cube in the upper right. Get reset by this icon here. Alright, let's get into the key rack. We're going to go ahead and start a new sketch. We're going to use the top plane here, which is the XY plane. XY. Select that, hit OK. And there we go. Let me move the crosshairs here. Now let me pull the keypad up real quick and notice the overall length is about 10 9/16 and the overall height is about 3 3/4. So if we did like 11 by 4, that would at least let me know the area within the sketch is large enough. So I'm just going to put a line here, somewhere around here. Put a line here. There you go, vertical symbol. And I right click to get out of that. So I'm just going to put a dimension from here to here, a horizontal distance. I'm going to hold my delete key down to get rid of the millimeters, and I'm going to put, let me see, that was 11 inches, so I'll go 5.5 inch marks, enter. And then I'll do the same here, which that 5.9 was converted into 139.7, so I'll use that dimension. In fact, let me show you a trick here. We can double click on that and you can see that it's highlighted blue. Just do a Control C to copy it and hit cancel or OK, it doesn't matter. Now we can use that value. So select center, endpoint. You can do horizontal. And while that's blue, I'm going to do a Control V. Hit OK, and there you go. So as we're drawing the key, that's about the size we want right there. All right. I went from the upper left corner to the lower right by holding my left button down. I select it in the upper left, hold the button down, pull it over here to the lower right and release it, and then I should be able to hit delete and everything goes away. Alright, here we go. Let's pull that key up and let me see, get out of that. Alright, here's the key. You notice on the left side we're looking at an overall height of 3 3/4, and you see the arc at the very top is 1 1/4 inch radius, and the information that is missing is the radius for this arc. So we're going to have to make some assumptions on that, and I cannot find the radiuses here. So that's another assumption I'm going to have to make. Now, what we have for reference over here is a 1/2 inch grid. So with that grid being a 1/2 inch, I'm going to guess that radius at 1/4 inch. This radius here, I'm probably going to have to use my eyes on that one. So my first attempt is going to put these radiuses in. Now I'm going to use I think it's the x-axis. Yeah, I hope it's the x-axis. I'm going to use that as the center of this key, going down the center. Then that will allow me to symmetrically place these radiuses here. So let's give that a shot. 1/4 radius here, 1/4 inch radius here, and then we'll see what we can do with that one. If you follow this radius and see where the tangent is, a tangent to me is like right about there where the two intersect. So I will try to use that from there to there to kind of give me that arc. So let's go ahead and give this a shot. Now these two arcs are in line with each other vertically, so I'll do that. All right, here we go. All right, let's do an arc. We're going to do center point for an arc. We're going to do a start, which I'm just going to start it over here on the left, sweep it over to the right, and I'm going to repeat that on the other side. In fact, I don't even have to select it anymore, because once you complete the arc, it's ready for you to do another one until you either hit escape, or actually you shouldn't hit escape because it'll get you out of the sketch. You right click your mouse if that's the way you have your mouse set up. So I'm going to left click to put the center there. I'm going to come over here on the left side, start it there, drag it around and end it here. I right click to get out of it. Now I'm going to set the radius to 1.25 inches by selecting the arc and do the pull down for radius. Hold delete key down, get rid of millimeters, and we'll do 1.25 inch mark. And radius is set. All right. And what's happening there? I'm in the habit of right clicking, so every time I right click, that window comes up. So sorry about that. All right. Now we need to set this to the same radius. All we need to do there is select the two and hit equal, and it'll set it equal. There. There, hit the equal sign, and there, it's equal. Now these two radiuses, the center points, we need to align those vertically. So I select that center point, and then right here, this constraint is vertical, horizontal. Hit that little triangle there for a pull down, and we're going to constrain those 2 points. Oh, wrong way. Select the wrong one. Vertical. Oh, you got to select them again. All right. Right click to get out. Select center point. Select center point. You don't have to hold your control key down, just select them. Try this again, and then now do vertical. There you go. And then it aligns them. It happened to put one point over top of the other, but let me see. Okay, those 2 points are locked together, so now I'm going to undo that. And this is all because I made the mistake of aligning those center points horizontally. Then I went vertical. All right, so now I backed out of that. I'm going to left click this point and pull it down. Oh, they're aligned horizontally. No wonder. I never did undo that horizontal constraint. So you can see right there, that's the horizontal constraint. I selected that, and I'm just going to use the delete key on my keyboard, and now that constraint is gone. Those 2 points are not locked together anymore. Now I can bring it over here. Now I can align those vertically. And there, they are constrained vertically. I'm going to right click to get out of it, grab the point and show you. It didn't work. Well, hey, this might be a longer video than I thought. Alright, select that point, and it shows me over here on the left panel, if I pay attention, that those two arcs are selected. So this should work this time. Bring it down, vertically constrain them, and it did. It showed the constraints here, and there's the constraint there. And as you select it over on the left side panel, the items highlight over here. You can see it's red, and then when I select it over here, it highlights it a different color. I might go in and change that so it shows up better in the properties. We'll probably do that in a different video, so you can see those better when you select them. All right, now we have to get those 2 points symmetrical to this line here. And what I'm going to do, pull that one up. From what I remember, let me pull the sketch up and see if there's any information to help us on that. Okay, that's some help. We got 3 3¾ from end to end. So we just need to do the math to get the distance. Oh, it's 5/8, but is that, yep, that's the same arc right there. So there's a center point. So 5/8 on both sides of the center line, or the x-axis. There you go. So now I'll select that point. I'll select this line, and I'll use a vertical distance. It's giving me an error down here. Wrong selection. Select exactly one line or up to 2 points from the sketch. Okay, 2 points. What I'll do is select this point and that point, and I'll try that again. Vertical distance, there you go. And I think we said that was 5/8. So I'm gonna hold down delete key, get rid of millimeters. I don't know if the fraction is going to work, but we'll try it. But I do know it's, well, I'm just going to use the decimal point. 6.2, is it 625 for 5/8? Yeah. 0.625. And then you have to give it the inch mark. All right. Okay. I'll do the same here. Here. That point to that point. Vertical. Hold down delete key, get rid of millimeters, and I want to try the fraction this time, see what happens. 5/8 and the inch mark. Hit enter. And yeah, it worked. Grab it, pull it. Actually, I'm going to pull it off to the left. Pull this one off to the left, kind of get these out of the way. All right, we've got the 2 arcs there. Now, let me see. I'm going to grab this with my left button on the mouse and just pull it around a little bit more. And I'll do the same here. Pull it around. And now I'm going to put that arc here, tangent to these circles, but in order to do that, I have to draw the arc with 3 points. I'm going to do the 2 endpoints, then the center. So that I want it near here. I don't want to attach it yet, because if I attach it, I don't know if it's going to let me do tangency or not. I'm not seeing tangency. I'm rolling up and down I'm moving my mouse along the side, and in the lower right quadrant of that purple circle, it would usually show you if there was a tangency symbol, and all it's showing me is I think it's coincident. Yeah, coincident. All right, I'm going to move it away. I'm just going to put my arc roughly out here. That end point, here's the end point, here's the center. And I'm going to do that. All right, now right click to get out of it. Now this is where this center point of that arc, I'm going to grab it. Hold on. There we go. See, I have control of that arc now. We know that it's going to be right here on that line. So what I'm going to do is make it coincident to that line. So I'll select that center point, and you can see it's highlighting over here. Right now the dimension line is covering it red, but you can see it selecting. I'll select it there. I selected a point and select that line, tangent, coincident, that's what I want. There, it moved up. Now that center point of that arc is on that line. It can't go up or down, but it's constrained to that line, right? Okay, that's good so far, because we're working on symmetry here. All right, now what I'm going to do is select the 2 arcs and then hit or select tangent constraint, and that will automatically connect them using tangent. So let's give that a try. Select this arc here, select this arc here, and then hit tangent, and there you go. Now, it did not make this tangent, but they are overlapping, and there's a way to, well, I want to, as long as those are equal, I don't think we have to make that tangent like this symbol is showing that these 2 are tangent. I think because we made that tangent, that this automatically is tangent, and there is a way to check that. I'm going to do that here shortly. But first, remember, we wanted the tangency of these 2 arcs to be at a certain location, and the only way that I can check that is by grabbing the center of that arc and pulling it, left and right. And you can see as I make the radius larger, come in, there you go. So you can see the intersection. If you see if you follow that tangency symbol, as I pull this to the right and to the left, you can see it moving. All right, so now I want to go back to the photo. And I believe that the tangency is somewhere around there. It's probably, looks like it's about 1/3 of the way from the center of this arc up. So about 1/3 of the way. We try it in the FreeCAD. So there's that. So 1/3 from here to there would be approximately here. So I want the tangency to be about right there. So let me pull on this, get it down. I'll go with that. All right, now we need to trim off these pieces here. And the way to do that is this trim command. Just trim, I'm going to zoom. I'm going to use the wheel on my mouse to zoom in here so you can see. And when I select it, you'll see right here a circle come up showing that it's going to trim to that circle, which is the intersection of tangency. So I'll select out the left, and then I'll do the same here. And that circle, you see that circle coming up again, the green circle. Select tangency. And there you go. The two endpoints of those arcs should be locked together. Now let's see if that works here. Without it, we don't have a tangency symbol, but I suspect that it's going to be automatically locked in dimensionally. So let's give it a shot. Yeah, I was right. It's showing it right there. So hit that, and it's showing that those two are what was that? Tangent or collinear. I'm gonna trim this one. There. Okay. Wow, going maybe a little bit easier than I thought. All right, now we got to get these arcs in here and dimension all of it, get it fully constrained before I move over to the right, because like I said, this is what gave me trouble. It was bad. I mean, I was messing with it for hours, and you're seeing me make some mistakes here on this one, but wow, you would not have wanted to watch me do the other one. That was not that was not good. You think this one is bad. All right, pull this up. All right, so what I want to do is at least get these two lines here in so that I can do this radius. And we said, based on this 1/2 inch grid here, that the radius appeared to be 1/4 inch. So that's what I'm going to go with, 1/4 inch radius. And that's probably a typical radius for woodworking on projects like this. So the dimension from this line to the center, or the dimension from this horizontal line to that horizontal line, is 7/8. So I can use that. All right, I'm going to right click to get out of the trim mode. There you go. All right, let's just put some lines in there. Lines. Remember, we don't want it up here. You want to pull it down until right there on the right side of that purple circle. You saw that horizontal constraint come up on the screen. Let me try that again. Up, and there you go. So as soon as you get that horizontal constraint, you can just left click it down anywhere, and it's going to automatically make that line horizontal. There you go. And then do that again. You don't have to select the line again. You just keep making line segments. You won't get out of the line segment mode until you right click. All right, go here, come over here, do that. Right click to get out of it. These two lines are going to be 7/8 apart. All right, I'll do it from, just do it from this end here to that end. And I know we want a vertical constraint between these two, but let's try something a little bit different this time. Let's use the, if you don't do the pull down and you just select this symbol here, it's a little bit of a time saver, because it will try to figure out what you intended dimensionally. So I've already selected those 2 points. I hit that, select it, and for some reason, because it's aligning to those 2 points, right? So as we move the mouse around, we get different configurations of dimensions. So there's the align. You can see the jaggedness See, when I go up, it's jagged. Come down, there you go. Now it's aligned to the horizontals. So I'll select it with the left button, and we want those two 7/8 apart. Hold delete down on 7/8 with an inch mark. Hit OK, and they're 7/8 apart. We'll pull that. We'll right click to get out of dimensioning. Grab that and just pull it up and get it out of the way. Alright, so now we need to do 7/8. We need to center this, which would be 7/16 on one of those. So to do that, select that point. I'll select that point, or you can select a line. And I'll try that again using that. Moving around until I get what I'm looking for. Right there. Alright, left click it. And this time, delete key down. 7/16. Give it an inch mark. Hit enter. Alright. Now those lines are symmetrical. Right click. Left click to pull that up out of the way. Alright, we're getting there. And now I'm going to pull these points over a little more. Alright, this is the fun part. Let's get those radiuses in there. So what I could do is pull this down, pull this over until they intersect, and then I can use this radius command. But I've found when I've done that in the past, it'll break that line segment and it'll undo some of the constraints that I have here, and then I have to go back and reconstrain them. So I hope I'm wrong, but let me try that and we'll see if it messes it up, because I think that's what made me get in trouble last time when I tried that. What I'm thinking I should do really is just go ahead and put an arc on the end of this line and then make it tangent to that. But hey, I'm experimenting today. So let me grab that point, pull it around, grab this one until we get an intersection. I'm looking at these constraints, see if we lose any. Our last constraint was on the bottom. Huh. Alright, well, let's just go ahead and try that. Alright, so when you do a radius, let me see what other options. Chamfer radius, fillet. Yeah, the fillet. Alright, so I'm going to hit the fillet icon, and then you select, wherever you select is where it starts the fillet. So if I select it up there, it's going to try to draw a fillet down like that. I generally just try to keep it close to the intersection, so I'm going to do it there. I selected the line. You can see on the left side, line number 4 was selected under the elements block. Now I'm going to select that one there. Alright, did it mess us up? We still got our radius. Those two lines are good. These equal. I don't think anything broke. It didn't break it. So far I think we're good. So far I think we're good. Alright, zoom in here, see what we got going on. Oh yeah. Yeah, we don't want to start messing that up. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and set a radius. Select that line. And remember, you can just select that symbol, and because you selected an arc, it's probably going to give you the option to do a radius. So I'm going to select that, and it certainly does. So I'm going to set that radius to 1/4 inch. Hold that down. do fraction or decimal. I'm going to go 0.25 inch mark, hit my enter button on the keyboard, and there you go, 6.35 millimeters. All right, right click, let's do that again. That worked. Certainly an easier way than trying to that looks different though, but let's put the radius in there and see. All right, fillet there to there. Okay, and remember, for radiuses and lines and things like that, we can set to equal. We've already got this radius set, so what I'm going to do is just left click this arc, left click that arc, and hit the equal sign. There, now those two radiuses are equal. So if you go in here and change the radius, let's say to 7, it changes both of them. So put it back to 6.35. There we go. Okay, so far it looks like it's going okay. Now let me see if I can constrain all these without any issues, and if we do that, then we're good to go. All right, so one of the things that we were missing was this radius here. We got the center point here, but because we have these radiuses locked in and we have it at the tangent points, we may not have to assign a radius. We may only have to locate that point there and just accept it where it's sitting. We don't have to move it or anything like that, because that is the location it needs to be. If we want our tangency to be about right there, which I do. All right, so we got 4 degrees. 4 degrees of freedom. I'm going to select that, and it should show me what I have to work on. Selected it. Wow, down here it's showing me everything. So, all right, what I'm going to do now is just start giving some locations for this off of this vertical line here, and then that should lock everything in from that point. So let me do that. I'll go, and pretty much where it's sitting is where it can be. You know, I can move, I grab that point, I'm moving left or right, and you can see it's affecting this because we haven't located that, we haven't locked that point in yet. So I think what I'm going to do, if we give that a radius, it's going to lock that point in where it needs to be. So that point's kind of floating right now. And we wanted it to be around that location. So let's just go ahead and give that a radius to help lock everything and lock that in. Hit that radius. It's 68.9. I'll just lock it in. I'll go 68. Hit enter. All right. So now, right click to get out of that. If I grab this point, all of that moves together. Okay. Everything's locked in. I can't change radiuses. So it's showing me here that we have to, all these are locked in together. We just now have to assign a dimension from here over here horizontally to lock that in so it stops moving, and that will reduce, it may even get rid of all 3 degrees of freedom, but I don't think so because we got these 2 points here. I think that's what the other 2 degrees are. All right, so let me get that locked in. Where do I want to do it? Let me go with this center point here, center point to this line, or the center, or the point there, doesn't matter. I'll go to the line and select that, And I'm just going to round that to 94. There you go. All right, we got 2 degrees of freedom, and I can grab if you can move stuff around, the points, like I'm grabbing those and I can't move any of that. It's all locked together, and you see they're green. They turn green when they're constrained. These 2 lines are not, so right there I can move those points. I can move that point, I can move that point. Those are the 2 right there. So let me select that. Yep, line 4 and 5, and you see as I move the cursor, line 4 and 5, you can see in the sketch the lines turning blue. So it shows those 2 lines are not constrained. All right, and that's fine because this was my area of concern back here. All right, well, I'm going to keep working on that now that I got that locked in. It's going well. Yay, I'm happy. All right, let's go back and look at the picture. So we want to put a circle there, a 1-inch diameter on the same center point as that arc, and the same here. So let's go get those laid in. All right, let's put I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here and just pan it over. Here, do a circle, go to the center point there, and just select it there. Do the same thing here, center point, there. Right click to get out of it. Oh, I forgot the radius. Was it 1 inch? I think it was 1. 1-inch diameter. Okay. Select the circle. I hit that. And that's the diameter. Delete key down, get rid of millimeters, 1 and an inch mark. Hit enter. There we go. Now I want this circle to be the same as that one, so it doesn't matter what order you select it, but I'll select that one, then I'll select that one, and hit the equal sign. It makes it equal. Okay. All right, while I'm over here, let me see if we can put that hole in there. There we go, that mounting hole right there, 7/8 over to there. That means we have to walk it from the right side over here all the way across to get to that point. So I think what I'm going to do is come back and do these holes in here maybe last. Let's go ahead and work on getting this part worked in now. All right. So let's look at this piece right here. Let's do that first. And right now we're gonna be kind of eyeballing some things here, with the exception of this radius. All right. What is that radius? Well, it's a full radius. It's 7/8, so 7/16 radius. Ah, there it is. Okay. All right, so we know, I'm going to pan back over, that somewhere over here we have a radius. We're going to start with the center point on this line here. I'm going to just select it there, and I'm going to go start up here, swing it around, go to here, boom. Now what I want to do is align these vertically, here to here. I'm going to put a vertical constraint on it. I could constrain it vertically, but that's not what I want to do. I'll show you what I'm going to do. I know that this is supposed to be a 7/16 radius, so let me do that. I selected it, and I'm going to hit this symbol here. Let me try it again. Alright, I selected the symbol without selecting this first somehow, but that's okay. Now you can see the symbol in that purple because I selected that first. It really doesn't matter if you select the line or the points first before you select the constraint. That's the habit that I've gotten into. It just seems to work better that way for me. But since I didn't do it and I selected this, now I'm going to select the line. And it gives me the radius option. I'm going to set that to 7/16. I got to hit delete key to get rid of the millimeters, put an inch in there, inch mark, select enter on my keyboard, and there we go. I'll right click to get out of that. I want to take this line and pull it over. Take this line and pull it past. I'll pull this in a little bit. Let's get in there, zoom in, and let's use our favorite trim. I'm going to trim it back. See, it shows you where it's going to trim it back to. Boom. Trim that back. Boom. 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 Okay. That makes it a little bit easier. Now we've got, I'll right click to get out of that. Now we can grab that point. Oh, I set the radius. What's wrong? Oh, yeah, yep. This is what happens when you use this break. It will remove some of your constraints sometimes. So let me go up here and reverse out and show you what happened. Reverse, undo, undo. You can see it undoing on the screen there. Undo. Okay, here we go. See these dimensions? They went away. So how do we retain the dimensions? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim these two back, and hopefully it doesn't break those dimensions. So I'm just going to trim these two arcs, and then I'm going to take this point and set it to tangent on the arc. So let's try that. Here we go. That. Okay. It didn't like that. Let me do that. All right, everything is orange now. Because we have it over constrained. We've got this radius already centered on that line. That radius already dictates the location of that line there and that line there. So these are not needed. So if I delete these two, we should see that redundant constraint up here go away. When it turns orange like that, that's not good. We're over constrained. So let me right click to get out of that. I'm going to select that, hit delete on my keyboard, select that, delete on my keyboard. Yep, that was the issue. So now let me try to trim this back, or better yet, I don't want to trim it back. I'm just gonna, since that radius is set there and there, and when I trimmed it back before, I think it broke my radius too, and that's why my lines are moving around. So now I'm gonna move these this point over to the tangency. I selected the point. You can see over here the line I selected. Now I'm going to select this arc, and then I'm going to select tangent. It says the endpoint of edge tangency was applied. The point on the object constraint was deleted. Keep notifying me of constraint substitutions. Okay. So what happened there? That point is red, so that's showing me that it can move. Yep. Oh boy. so let me select this point, select that arc, make a tangent, hit OK. Alright, let me see if I can trim those off. Trim. Okay, the thing that concerns me is when you got these red points, you look at the red dot indicates they're not overlapping or there's an issue. But it does say it's only got 1 degree of freedom. Let me hit that and see what the issue is. And the 1 degree of freedom is line 4 and 5, which are these two lines here. Because you can see as I move in the screen, you see them turning blue. Alright, so it may be a length. Yeah, that's what it is. It wants me to set a length now, and that'll get rid of that 1 degree of freedom. If I just measure like from here out to there, it should be fully constrained. But see, we still got to draw this key information down here, and in order to do that, I've got to break that line. So before I fully constrain that, let me draw that key in. So let me go back and look at the key.